Hey guys, it's Bailey. Welcome back. Thanks for tuning in. Today I'm going to be talking about some new products from Wet n Wild. They've been launching a lot of products. I guess it hasn't been so recently. I'm kind of late to this one, but they relatively recently launched a ton of new products, including a new brush collection. They reformulated eyeshadows, highlighters, you name it. It seems like they've come out with it. So I just went ahead and placed an order from their website rather than hunting around for everything at drugstores. I just placed an order and I've been using it for a couple of weeks now. So I wanted to go ahead, talk through them, give my thoughts, give some demos, and ultimately let you know whether or not you should pick them up or whether you can skip them, because I'm not gonna lie guys, there are some duds in here. So let's go ahead and get into it. The first set of products I've already talked about here on the channel, so I won't go into it too much, but I talked about the Mega Glow Hello Halo liquid highlighters in a recent 5 new beauty things that I have been using lately. Raved about them there. I really like them. They're super affordable, incredibly pigmented highlighters. They remind me a lot of the CoverFX Custom Enhancer drops, but a little bit thicker, so if you find those are a little bit too, watery, runny, they just kind of go everywhere for you and you don't get the kind of precision you want out of them, these might be a better solution. They are a thicker cream formula, but I still find they blend in with other like foundations or body creams you might want to use them with. They're thin enough where you can mix them in very easily there, but not so thin that they're just gonna kind of run everywhere and be a mess. There's also a really nice shade range within this collection. I talked about in that other video the two kind of more traditional seeming formulas, with the Goddess Glow being this gorgeous light champagne, something a little deeper with Go With The Glow. This is amazing. I think it's gonna be great for medium to deep skin tones. On me, it was like this gorgeous bronzy blush kind of situation that I really liked. But the other one I didn't talk about is Halo Graphic. With a name like that, how could I not pick this up? This ended up being a kind of a frosty, pearlescent, iridescent lavender lilac. I probably could have used less words to describe this, but that's just what came to mind. Basically, it is a frosty white base with a purple shift or iridescence to it. A lot of people might think, no way, why in the world would I wear purple? Like, no one glows from within purple naturally. Not a natural color, no thanks, not for me. I really like this though, and I feel like a broken record, but I like adding sort of unconventional colors to my highlight, layering them up, just to add a little bit of difference and kind of complement whatever other makeup I might be wearing, whether it's on my eyes, if I'm wearing a funky lip. It just kind of helps tie the whole look together if I put something like Goddess Glow on most of my cheekbones, like along the tops of my cheekbones, then I will take something like Halo Graphic, that's what it's called. Take something like Halo Graphic and just dab a little bit of it here and blend it in with the rest of that, just so that as you're turning or as the light hits your face in a certain way, you just get that pop, just that subtle pop of color, but it's not overwhelming across your cheeks, or it can be, but I'm just saying, for those who might be intimidated by something like a purple highlight, that's how I personally like to wear it, and I love all of these. They're amazing. They lay beautifully over your makeup, whether it is cream, powder, whatever, you name it. Even though these are a cream formula, they're really nice. I do dab. I wouldn't go like brushing or rubbing these across your face if you've already applied your foundation and blush and bronzer and all that kind of stuff, but if you pat it over the top, does not disturb it at all. Love these, especially for the price. Okay, who's ready to talk about the fails? Let's just get it out of the way now. It'll be quick and painless. The cream eyeshadows that they launched with this, or just recently launched, I don't know if it's part of a specific collection, but these are the liquid catsuits. I have the shade Emerald Gaze, and Black is the New Black. I had such high hopes for these. They're incredibly pigmented when you go to apply them. They're relatively easy to blend out and blend together when you actually apply the two together, but oh my goodness, it did not take long for these to just crumble away from my eyes throughout the day. That was trying them with the primer, trying them without the primer. When I tried these, I actually tried one eye primed and one eye without, because they say that you could use these as a base or you could use these under powder shadow. They're supposed to be the most versatile thing. No, not so much. I did not experience that at all. They crumbled not immediately, but pretty much. I mean, for something that's called Mega Last, certainly expected it to last longer than 2 hours. In fact, this is what I was wearing in my recent magnetic eyelash video review, where when I showed the close-up, I was like, oh my god, I didn't want to refilm, but man, my eyeshadow looked not great. Not a good look for me that day, and it was these. So yeah, I really wanted to love them because boy, do they look really pretty, glitzy, pigmented, nice to work with, but they just don't last. I also have this taupe one called Cashmere Love. It also stinks. Now let's talk about what I think I was most excited about. They have reformulated their eyeshadow palettes. Specifically, one of the first eyeshadow palettes I ever owned when I was creating YouTube videos, and it is the Comfort Zone palette. And at first when I saw they reformulated, I was like, ooh, you better, the bar was high, they had better not have messed this up. And believe it or not, guys, they not only didn't mess it up, they made it better. They actually listened to everyone's feedback for like the last decade. So, I mean, you know, it did take some time, but all the feedback's in there, and I'm happy to say that they improved the formula across multiple palettes. Not all of them were a win for me, but it's pretty good. So the palettes that I got are obviously the Comfort Zone, had to repurchase that baby. And then I also got Not a Basic Peach, which I love. And I don't think they had in the original core collection. The only two that I had from the core were Petal Pusher or Petal, the purple one. Comfort Zone, I think that's it from the 8 pans. So I picked this up because this looked like a gorgeous beachy kind of palette with the peaches and the golds and the aqua. It just screamed summer vacation to me, and I think we could all use one of those right about this point in the year. So I picked that up. Both of these are just amazing. I mean, like I said, Comfort Zone really impressed me because you not only get the original shades, right? Nope, that's not what I want. Juggling my palettes up here. You not only get the original 8 shades, but they added 2 matte shades in there too. 2 matte transition shades. They're even labeled as transition shades. One is a lighter camel, one is a deeper chocolatey brown, so you get transitions for a wider range of skin tones than just one shade. There's a little bit of shade differentiation from the original formula, but nothing I'm super mad at. I mean, it pretty much does the exact same job. I will be getting rid of my old Comfort Zone because it is that old, and it probably needed to go a long, long time ago, but it's so hard to give up something that is just, I mean, true to the name, your comfort zone. And then same story for Not a Basic Peach. I was just so impressed with the pigmentation and the creaminess of these shadows, including the mattes, which can sometimes be hard to come by in the drugstore, to have a nice creamy, smooth matte that applies without pulling or streaking or coming off chalky. These are absolutely beautiful. The one that I wasn't as impressed with, and tell me if I'm wrong or if you had the same experience, but I did pick up one of the new quads. This one is Hooked on Vinyl, and I liked it because I'm a sucker for bronze meets deep turquoise. It's just like a magical combination for me. I don't know, I'm immediately attracted to it. So I saw this and I picked it up, and unlike the formula in the 10 pan palettes, these just came off as a little bit drier and less pigmented, and that was using a primer. I mean, nothing else was different in how I applied these. It just, yeah, it felt like the formula was just a little off from what the 10 pans are. So let me know if that happened to you. If you're looking at these, I would totally recommend the 10 pans over a quad, but I also only picked up one of, I don't even know how many new quads they have, so I'm sure the formula varies somewhat, even a little bit across all of those. So let me know which ones worked for you down in the comments. And last but not least, the new brushes they recently launched. This is a rose gold collection. I'll put the actual names of all of these because I'm not sure it's called the rose gold collection, and they also don't have the, like, what these brushes are supposed to be used for labeled on here. They just have numbers. So all of these do come named with, like, in theory, what they're best used for, I'm assuming, on the package, but once you separate the brush and the package, there's no way to tie the two together. Like, I can't find a package that says P55 on it, so that was kind of weird. But I will look that up, and I'll be sure and put, like, either notes in the description or, like, little subtitles here so that you can see not only the name of the brush if you're interested, but also the pricing. And maybe the actual real name of this collection, because I'm sure maybe it's rose gold. It's rose gold with handles that look like this. They have a little notch for your finger, your thumb, although that would only be for a right hand person, because as I think about this now, your middle finger or something like that would fit into this little notch. Anywho, that's the packaging. It feels really nice. It's a little bit weighted up here towards the ferrule, so it gives it a little bit more of a luxe look and feel. But as with most Wet n Wild products, they keep the price tag down, so it feels more expensive than it looks. So first, let's start with the face brushes. This one is not like the others, so let's talk about it first. This is a mini kabuki brush. It's also pretty standard for a mini kabuki brush. If you have something like this, if you need another one, would recommend it. It's affordable, it works just as well as any other kabuki brush. But if not, I wouldn't go out of your way to try this, just because it does, I mean, you know, it's good for buffing in powder, whether it's your setting powder, your powder foundation. That's what I like to use things like this for, but it's not like an outstanding kabuki brush that beats all other kabuki brushes. So I don't think I could have said kabuki brush any more times in like the last 30 seconds. Next up is the P50, and this is one that made me debate getting the whole collection because I knew when I saw it online, this is just not a brush that I like using. I've owned a couple of these. I think whoever does the private labeling for like Morphe, they do brushes, and I bought one from them, maybe from somebody else, but bottom line is this is like a sculpting, or it is a sculpting brush. You can see it has a super narrow edge, but it's very kind of long and skinny here on the other edge, and it's good for really getting in there and carving out your contour. I just find that it is a little too precise for me. I get too much of an edge here. Even if I'm doing my powder, that creates too much. You know, if I, instead of using it for bronzer, I use it for setting powder, that creates too much of a sharp edge there. And I'm more of a bronzer kind of person where I like to just kind of, you know, brush it all over my face, kind of set it and forget it, rather than like going with this brush and then going with a buffing brush and then go back in with this brush. You know, I'm not about that super sculpted life. I just like a light bronze and lift. So this really has less of a place in my everyday makeup routine, but if you are looking for a brush like this, and an affordable one at that, this might be a good one to reach for. Then the last three face brushes are ones that I actually really like. The first of which is a foundation brush. You've probably noticed me using this in the past couple of videos that you've seen me applying foundation. It's the P55, and it's has this handy little reservoir here, but it also has this kind of ski slope or like hill shape to it. That's definitely not a technical makeup term that you will hear anybody else saying, but that's what it looks like to me. It's like a ski slope with a reservoir. And I really like, it reminds me a lot of I think Bare Minerals has a flat kabuki with a reservoir in it, but I like this one better because the curve adheres to the shape of your face, especially around your cheeks a little bit better. And if you want to like actually use this reservoir, you pick up your product, or you put your product, however you like to do it, in the reservoir, and then you can actually use like the more tapered edge up here, or the higher edge, to blend out and buff the rest of your makeup and kind of keep the excess product in this reservoir until you want to go to other parts of your face to help buff and blend that out. I don't notice myself using less product because of it. It's just a little bit easier to evenly distribute product across my face. Then there is the P60. This is a nice fluffy powder brush. I use it for my bronzer. Like I said, I'm not about anything precise. I use this big honkin' brush to get in my contour. I've used it for blush. I've used it for setting powder. Really, it's kind of an all-in-one sort of brush for me. And if you saw my makeup don'ts that I still do video, one of my big don'ts is that even though you should keep your brushes separate to keep your colors from like blending all together, I don't. And so when I say I've used all of this brush for all those things, I have, and it's in the same go of it. So it's a really great multitasker. And the same can be said for the P70. This, by comparison, is a little bit shorter, not quite as fluffy. I find it's not quite as good for anything super pigmented like brush, even bronzer, unless you're going in with a very, very subtle bronzer that's like maybe a shade or two deeper. You know, you're doing like just a very subtle kind of all over. I find it's best for setting powder and powder foundation because it has that kind of density to it. It's almost like that Kabuki brush I just talked about, but a little bit more dense. So it also works for liquid foundation too. But honestly, if you want the whole set, I would say go for this brush over the Kabuki because it actually looks and is going to fit visually and just storage-wise better with the rest of the collection. And it basically serves the same purpose as the Kabuki. And last are the eyes. Actually, this one's kind of a hybrid. It's a big, if you can see by comparison, the big one is the P75, the smaller one is the P20. This one is very clearly, at least for me anyway, a distinct eye brush, specifically what I like to use to blend through my crease. This is somewhat bigger, and so you can use it to do like a very broad wash of color across your eyes, but I also really like it for highlight, especially getting that super precise highlight that I like to apply right here in my outer under eye area. This is great for that, as well as just kind of like doing broad sweeps of highlighter across your cheekbones, but this is especially good for that super precise and even dense, if you want to pick it up right there on the end of your brush, a super dense highlight there too. This is a harder brush to find, I feel like, from the drugstore or a more affordable version of, so this is one I would definitely recommend you pick up if you've been wanting more of a smaller, precise facial brush. Could be for highlight, could be for whatever you want it for, but this is just one I personally think is a little harder to find in the more affordable realm. On to the rest of the brushes. The P25, this is like a little buzz cut brush. This I found using less, and I think this is not like even though it's eye size, like it's as small as the eye brushes, the fact that it has that flat top for me does not make it good for eye application. I imagine it's also good for concealer and stuff, but I just personally like to use my fingers for concealer. I find it helps blend things, especially in my under eye area where I want to make sure that that product is nice and blended into any fine lines there. I just like to use my fingers for that. So this was not used as much for me, but it does remind me a lot of one of the Sigma Precision brushes. Not quite as dense and not quite as big, but very similar if you're looking for something that will get, not a dupe, but something that'll get the same job done. And the last three are those that I've obviously used and liked from the collection, like I talked about before. The Fluffy Crease Brush is the P20. That's exactly what I like to use it for, blending throughout my crease, blending shadows on my lid together. Then there is the P15, which is a fluffy but still somewhat flat shader. This is what I like to use to apply shadow all over my lid, my brow bone, even pack shadows across my lid, because although it's not a totally flat brush, it still gives you that surface that's nice for patting, like foiling and then patting shadows or pigments across the lid. And then the last one is a small detailer brush. This is the P10, and this I like to use for my inner corner. Again, you can use it for your brow. I like to use it for my outer corner. That's what I used it for today, as well as getting a nice smoky line along my lower lash line. Together, these three I think are the only eye brushes you need for like a good essential, even like a more moderate to advanced eye look. These are just what I personally like for an everyday use kind of thing. So if you're going to buy three eye brushes from this collection, these would be it. Obviously, I found a lot of winners in this collection, but if I had it to do over again, I probably would be a little bit more selective, not buy the full collection, just kind of buy those that I want. So I hope that was helpful for you guys here in case you were thinking about the full collection or just getting a few pieces from it. Hopefully seeing some of these in action and learning more about their function, what I like to use them for, helped you with that, as well as the reviews of the rest of the products. I always hope you get something from these videos, whether or not you want to buy it or you can skip it, whatever it is, or just pure entertainment. I don't know. That's it from me, guys. I'd love to hear what you guys think of these. If you tried them, if you have your eye on them, let me know down in the comments below. That is it from me. Thank you guys so much for watching. Please don't forget to subscribe if you haven't already, and I will catch you in the next video. Bye, guys.